Finally, episode 12 of Kekkai Sensen has come out, and I gotta say, personally, I thought the wait was actually worth it. I love the finale. To me, it was perfect, and I'm definitely glad that they went above and beyond and pretty much made this a double episode. So, of course, with the episode being this long, I do have a lot to cover, so if I do forget to mention a certain part, then I hope that y'all can forgive me for that, because obviously I do have a lot to actually have to try to remember and of course talk about. Now we see now that in the beginning of the episode, it's pretty much picking off where episode 11 left off, where we have, this second collapse now happening, and we have Leo tied up like a prisoner, and we have that other guy with the mask on his face. Now I do believe his name is called Fimit. I'll probably say his name wrong, but this guy was the king of depravity. Hopefully I'm saying that right. And so now we have the rest of Libra. They were all looking for Leo because right now there was this very thick fog. It's covering everything, and that right there is making it hard to see anything right now. But we have the other members. Other members of Libra, they were all out looking for Leo because right now Leo is one of their key figures, especially with those powerful eyes of his. And of course he plays, a major key role in the plot as well, being the main character. So of course they have to find them. And we see now that, that they broke up our characters into, it was Steven and Klaus, and then KK appeared. We had Zed, I believe his name was, and Zap. They were together. And we have Abraham, Brody, and Hummer, and some bigger guy with this little girl. Now I forgot their names, but I definitely made a reference to them in my early reviews, comparing those to the characters from a different anime called Hamatora. And so now all of them were looking for Leo, but they were all going about there were different ways about it. And so right now Leo here, he was pretty much playing dead, and Fimit here, was not buying that, and eventually that right there led to Fimit, as I would call him, kind of baiting Leo into playing a game where if Leo would win, he would answer any questions for him, and Leo was so caught off guard by this because he thought that if he would lose this game, it's possible that Fimit here will kill him. But no, that right there was not the case at all. Because Fimit was acting like Leo was gonna already die, so there was no point in him throwing in his hands. Now and so now going back to Black, as we all know he's possessed. We see him now covered in bruises, obviously, and that right there was from the pummeling that White gave him, in the previous episode. Now I do find it surprising personally that I can't recall what happened, earlier in the series, because it's definitely been a while since I watched it, because I have not watched it since this show aired, two seasons ago. I do believe it's been that long now. And so now we see that Black, he was fading in and out of consciousness because, at one point he woke up and he felt so tired and he could not really move that well. And eventually he had went back to sleep. But one time when he woke up, Fimit here was actually there, and for some reason he had allowed Leo to go, but the reason why that was, it was because Leo here, he did not have time to actually play any games, because right now any questions that Leo would have, it would not be for him to answer. And so we learn now that pretty much this collapse is happening, but at the same time, it was still being prevented by one final barrier that they had in place. And we learn now that barrier, it was actually infused with White. So that right there definitely explains a lot, because whenever, White here would suddenly, be in a lot of pain, that could have been from the previous barriers, set in place, possibly, breaking, and that right there would have an effect on her. But right now, no one can find White, And so right now, that right there was like pretty much Leo's, main job, because we see him walking up these steps, and right now his eyes still had those goggles on them, and his hand was like still tied behind his back. But we see now that like Femin here, we see Femin actually giving Black the motivation to continue, because he was saying that like as the King of Despair, he needs more nonsense or something like that. And so we see now Black here with like somehow suddenly healed up, and we see him pretty much use his power to the max, as he actually changed the landscape of the city as if it was like some giant Rubik's cube. And so right now, everybody who's like on the streets were like definitely feeling the effects of it. And not only that, we had like all these random like zombie beastmen, coming out the woodworks, and obviously that right there gave like Libra a chance to shine. And of course, we got some pretty good action scenes in this episode. That right there was like definitely one of the highlights. And so right now we have everybody showing off, all these like different techniques, and we see that eventually Leo, he actually makes it to the surface. And so now he was like bum rushed by Sonic, who has showed them this clip of like white spinal words in a sense. But eventually now, Leo knows what he has to do. And so right now he is like going to go confront Black. And we see now that like Black here has made like his own kind of throne. And we see that at the top of that, it was like that church cathedral or whatever you want to call it, but like on top. And so right now, while Leo was like making his way there, we have Abraham, Brody Hummer, and the other two. They go ahead like found them first, but thanks to Abraham's like amazing luck, we have like these meteors, hitting all of them, and obviously everybody was like safe. But we all know that Abraham was the one to like blame for that, and somehow Leo already knew that white was the barrier all along. We have no idea how that's possible, but like somehow he knew. And so of course now it was like all up to him to like find her and put a stop to this, because she was the only one who can do it. And so now while like Leo was like going on his own, we have the other members of like Libra helping him, because at first there was Brody Armor, and we see now that like Brody was in charge, and we see him like, and to me they were here like really funny, because it reminded me of like Colossus and Wolverine working together, as we see that Brody picked up Leo and threw him with like all of his strength. And so we see that when Leo went flying, Chain appeared out of nowhere and got him, but then we have like this massive building almost crushing him, and we see now that you would think that like maybe Chain will like save him, but no, this girl was like being like what she did was like messed up, because she can teleport, but it seems that she cannot take someone else with her. So when she did that, she had left Leo on his own, but luckily he was saved by Zed. And now I don't know, different here with like just me, but I didn't know that like Zed can also use the elements as well, because we saw him make a tornado. And so right now we have a Leo who was like trying too hard on his own, as we see that immediately after he was saved, he had already ran off. And well, of course he did thank Zed for saving him, but immediately he had ran off, and we see now that Zed and Chain, they can see that like Leo is definitely being too reckless and trying so hard on his own. But we see that like Zed here was like praising him for like all his good qualities. And so of course now that the only thing that they can do is like believe in him. And so right now they have like wish him luck, and we see him now running off. And so we see that eventually he came across just like this battlefield, so to say, where Steven and Kekkai had worked together, as they actually froze excuse me. as they actually froze and electrified these zombies. And so right now you're like wondering where Klaus, because earlier in the episode, Klaus and like Steven, they were together. And now, and it's a very quick flashback, where the class happened 3 years ago. We see Klaus holding his baby, and I do wonder where's that baby now, because to me, it seems rather random that, that right there was the one time that we saw that child and pretty much never heard about it again. And so right now we see that like Klaus, he actually went to where Black was, and eventually, these two were like talking at first, but Black here pretty much had wanted nothing to do with Klaus, because the one who he was waiting for was like Leo. And we see now that like Black here was like using his powers to pretty much bring all this debris and try to like damage Klaus. And so we see that when that didn't work, because he easily blocked that, it seemed that like Black here had this like very devious idea and actually like tried to actually harm himself, and that right there had caused Klaus to protect him. But eventually, it seems that at first Klaus here was like very, very hesitant to actually, hurt him. But eventually that right there led to a fight between them. And to me, that right there was like freaking awesome. Now, the animation was definitely a bit different compared to normal, but overall, I freaking loved their fight, even though it was rather short. And sadly, Klaus here got so messed up. I thought at first, he might die, but I'm glad that right there was like definitely not the case. And we see now that even though Black here was like a bad guy, everybody had wanted to save him, and even Black had wanted to save him from himself. And also we learn now that the being that's like currently possessing currently possessing Black, he goes by many names, but I do believe that his that the original name or his first name, it was called Watchman, and he been around for like centuries, but for some reason he had chose to stay in this town, or eventually what would actually become this town, and for some reason during the collapse, that right there is where he had finally made his move and started planning all this. But eventually, after the whole, Klaus and Black fight, that's where you have Leo finally showing up, and you see now that at first Leo had no idea what to do, and even at one point his eye actually actually cracks him, because because the powers had been used so much. But it was definitely nice to see Leo and Zap interact once again, especially when like Zap did not hold back, as he actually got rid of a group of zombies. And so right now, even Zap here was like, even Zap here had Leo back really for like the first time, and now with Leo, now confronting Black, he really had no idea what to do at first. And we see that even though his eyes were like messed up, he still used powers to actually, look in there, and we see him now looking past the King of Despair, and more importantly, looking at Black, or Will, and of course Will definitely does not want to die, and he actually wants to live, and that right there causes Leo to call out to White, because even though right now he cannot find her, she can hear him, and eventually now we have White appearing out of nowhere pretty much, and we see that apparently she had heard Leo's voice from wherever she was. Like he was definitely on a different plane of existence compared to them, and so right now her and Leo plan on saving this world. And we see now that after Leo had got close and gave Black a headbutt, that right there allows him to use, one of his powers. And I believe he called it like joint field vision. And we see now White had appeared. And obviously, the next time we have saw White, we saw like part of her chest or her body pretty much, like breaking apart, and obviously that right there represents the barrier that was now slowly breaking, because she was the last one that could actually contain the collapse. And so right now, with like her and Will actually having just like very, very touching moment, because Will did not want Mary to die at all. And so right now, he was like a world without his sister would be a world, not really worth living in. So it might as well all be gone now. But of course, White did not want that. Of course, she would like want her brother to live. And we see them now using the last bit of their powers, and we saw her now taking Watchman out of Black and putting it into her own body, as they now had actually repaired that last barrier, to make everything all right. And so of course now with like White gone, the two close ones to her, had to now live in a new reality. And we see now that at first, Leo, he we see that when Leo and Klaus were talking, he was acting, like very, very normal. But eventually at one point he had broke down, started to cry, and of course you definitely cannot blame him for that, because the girl he loved is now gone, and of course he would like never really see her again. And we have Will, watching him, talking to his sister, even though she's not there, saying, that her night is now what we call it? I think it said a blubbering mess, something like that. And but Will was like, he is so cool, but like he is so cool, and then he called him their hero, but of course Will had messed around saying no, he's not cool at all. And that right there is like pretty much where the episode ended. Of course, like during the credits, we have saw little like snippets about what happened afterwards, like how Will pretty much left that city. We have no idea where he's going, but Libra is still there and all together. And now there was like one thing at the end that actually confused me, where we have where we have them welcoming in a new comrade, and then we have some guy picking up a random coin, and I'm not sure if that right there was like Steven or somebody else, because to me I believe that right there was a different person. But then we also have Leo writing out letters to his sister, and we see that, and we see for the first time, we like actually see her eyes. And even though I'm sure she has special eyes like Leo, her eyes were like very, very beautiful. Like to me, it seemed that her eyes were like a beautiful starlit night, at least to me. So I do wonder what's going on with her. But obviously that right there is kind of like where the episode ended. And for some reason, I doubt this series will get season 2. But after an ending like this, I am definitely fine with that. Now, overall, Kekkai Sensen was definitely one of my favorite anime this year. I love the ending. Now, of course, that being said, if I had to rate this, I would probably give the ending maybe an 8 out of 10. But overall, the anime is definitely a 9 out of 10 for me. But of course, I would love to hear your thoughts on this. And please don't forget to like and subscribe, because it really helps me out. But as always, you gotta take it easy, and I will see you all next time.